The Seattle Mariners are 29-13 since July 1st and have found themselves once again in a playoff spot. Right here, we're holding down wild card 3, a half game up on Toronto. We also hold the tiebreaker against them right now since we have a better record against our own division, whereas Toronto's not played as well against the AL East. Seattle rolled into Houston coming off 3 hard-fought wins against the Royals. Obviously, we lost the first game. Those last 3 wins were crucial for, I think, how the Mariners are going to set up their play in Houston. The Mariners in the first game in Houston went 0 for 17 and runners in scoring position. That is terrible. Downright disgustingly bad. Yet you scrape out a 2-0 win because you have lights out performances from Bryce Miller, 6 1/3, 2 hits, did great. Justin Topa, also phenomenal, 1 2/3 innings pitched. And then Munoz is a little shaky, but it's the defense's fault, I would say. Munoz got it done. Shout out Bryce Miller. The last 3 starts have been phenomenal for him. You see August 6th against the Angels, 10 strikeouts over 5. The Orioles only gave up 1 earned, 2 runs in 5 2/3. And against the Astros, he's keeping them in the game in the last 3 starts, no matter what, putting the team in a great position to win games. And that is massive because the previous 2 starts, that is not the case from Bryce Miller. Now, Colton sent this one out. He was feeling a little spicy. Hugh better believe the Rainiers are bringing the heat. Hugh loved to see it. Like, game 1 win. The Astros just couldn't get anything done on offense. And also, follow us on Twitter. Like, we've got like 320 followers. Pump up those numbers. The series in Houston, you just got to keep winning. You got to keep finding ways to win. And going back to the first one, there's no way the Mariners go 0 for 17. They go 0 for with runners in scoring position again. I would say through the rest of the series. If they do, blame it on me. I jinxed it. But the Mariners offense, it's been good. It's been too good to go 0 for 17 with runners in scoring position again. Obviously, we know the big elephant in the room, Julio Rodriguez. We'll get to him because dude is insane. Stacking up against Houston for the rest of the series, the Mariners have a plus 18 run differential against Houston so far in 2023, right? It is backed by this large 10-1 win, 9-run differential there. But each game, it's been pretty close. Even, the losses, it's only -3. So that's pretty damn good. And we are 6-2 against Houston. We only need to win, I think, 1 more game for the rest of the year against Houston, and we will take the season series, which if we ended up being, tied, and we're not that far back from Houston, we're only 2.5 back. If we end up being tied with them at the end of the year, because we've got a crucial part of the schedule at the end of the season, at the end of September into early October against Houston and Texas, that tiebreaker could come into play more than I think we might realize. Because with the way that the team was playing in April, May, June, whatever, June specifically, 9-15, we were down bad as a team. But like I said, 29-13 since July 1st. We have been surging. And that is largely in part to Julio Rodriguez. I'm going to highlight first his outs above average. His defense has been stellar, beyond stellar this year. He will win the Gold Glove in center field if he doesn't riots in the street. He is, well, you can't tell, the only outfielder here within the top 10. Luis Robert Jr. is right there, 11, tied. But Julio, he has been the best defensive outfielder in all of baseball this year, and he's got insane range. He's worked on his outfield jump quite a bit, I would say, this year. Last year, we're going to take a look at his savant. So, outfielder jump 81. Obviously, the outs above average is the 100th percentile because he's the best. 2022, that jump is 58. So, he's worked on that a ton. His speed, his closing speed, his range to his left and right, it's been very good. Julio, he has now entered the top 10, probably for a bit here, but top 10 in Fangraphs WAR in the American League. If you take it out of the American League and do the entirety of baseball, position player wise, he is 13th at 4.3, but the way he's been playing, dude's going to keep shooting up this list, and we, as a fan base, I think, owe Julio an apology, because we were, I don't want to say writing him off, but there were definite times where we weren't as, I guess, grateful for the potential that's still to be had, because Julio, He's been amazing the last couple of, I'd say, month and a half, 2 months. His batting average was as low as 204 on May 21st. He brings it up to 240 in about a week's time, and then it hovers between 240 and 250 for, 2.5 months. And now, you all know the tale of the tapes on Julio. He set the record for most hits in a single 4-game series at 12. Our boy Alex Mayer hooked it up with some little fun facts here, because I chose to be like, hey, Alex, help me out here. 11 is the most in a 3-game series, done by Ichiro twice. Julio in the first game against the Astros got 4 hits. He's more than a third of the way there. Looking back here, this isn't completely updated, but Julio, since August 15th, right, his second game against Kansas City, he's raised his average to 269 leaving Kansas City, and the first game in Houston has brought it up to 274. Dude cannot be stopped. He will not get out. He refuses. And he's putting the team on his back at the perfect time, because the Mariners needed it. They lost their captain, J.P. Crawford, as we all know, to injury, concussion. He should be back soon, which is great. But Julio has stepped up immensely when the Mariners needed him most. It should be no surprise that the Mariners' worst month is when Julio performed his worst, essentially. Julio is the motor. He is the engine, the heart of this team. When he is playing well, this team rallies. They revolve around his energy. And in July, they had the best month. He hit 293 with an 825 OPS. August has been even better in terms of win percentage-wise, right? 377 with a 1.042 OPS. Julio Rodriguez is staking his claim as the best baseball player on the planet for this last week. I know Shohei Ohtani exists. I know other guys exist. But in the last week, you cannot deny Julio's greatness. And he has propelled himself up the list in terms of like WAR and offensive production and just overall stardom. He's back in that spotlight again. It's not like he ever left it a whole bunch. But Julio, we owed you an apology, because our expectations for you at the beginning of the year were too high, and we let these couple months really we let it bring you down. But you have brought yourself back up to the top of baseball, and I can't be any more grateful, because bro's carrying the team on his back and has the funniest stat line I think I've seen all year. In his last 15 games, this is, Julio stats, last 15 games, 69 at-bats with a 420 batting average. Doesn't get any better than that. Shout out to our guy Reed in the comments, pointed this out. Mariners Hall of Fame. Reed, you are in the Mariner Mojo Hall of Fame, because that's phenomenal for pointing that out. Thank you guys for watching this. I just wanted to kind of get on here and talk about the games and the team, because it's the best time to be a Mariners fan, because we, like I mentioned, are in a wild card spot. If you guys want to take a bit deeper of a dive on the upcoming schedule and what we've got going on there and how important these games are, Colton made a video breaking that down. So you guys should go watch that if you haven't. Go Mariners.